Now, the first thing that you want to do is to go ahead and construct a gift of wood and a trade fair, following by recruiting 2 companies of storm dancers with mist runners on the flank, remembering to attach your Kohans. And as you can tell in the Haroun race, the buildings construct themselves, and once you fill up the max slots in a city, then the city will automatically upgrade on its own, which is a very useful feature for this race. Now, as your city is upgrading, you may notice that it takes a fairly long time, but this is sort of a balance feature because other races have to pay for their upgrades while yours is free, although it is slower. Once your city has finished upgrading, then you want to go ahead and construct a gift of stone, followed by the gift of iron, and once those two have completed, then your city will again upgrade, giving you a greater gold income and larger unit support. Once you find your second settle, you want to go ahead and recruit a pilgrim company, and the useful thing about the Haroun settlers is that you only need one to actually settle a spot. Now, as you can tell, the actual construction of new Haroun settlements is very much the same as how your original city upgrades. You only need one settler unit to settle the spot, and it will slowly generate into a new city. Once your second settlement has finished being built, you want to go ahead and construct a trade fair first. Trade fairs are one of the most important structures in the Haroun economy because all their structures are very expensive and they need to build up a moderate gold income as quickly as possible. So make sure that the first building that you always build is the trade fair in your first 3 cities. And once you build the trade fair, you can follow that by a gift of stone, which is cheap, and the sooner you fill both of your slots, the sooner you can have your city upgrade automatically. Considering how fragile the Haroun economy is, it's up to you to decide when you want to recruit your second 2 companies of scouts. At this point, I have enough gold to obtain another settlement and to also support 2 more companies, so I'm going to go ahead and recruit my second 2 companies of scouts now. Once you have settled your third spot, you want to proceed by building a trade fair, followed by either the gift of wood or the gift of stone, depending on how much gold you have at the time. I'm going to go ahead and build gift of wood. The time of recruitment for Haroun is not exactly 10 minutes. It usually tends to be 1 to 3 minutes after, considering it takes so long to build up the Haroun's economy. But once you reach the time of recruitment, the next few structures that you build are really going to depend on what faction you are. So, if you are the Council faction, then you want to build a Grove of Dusk, and a Gathering. If you are Royalist, then instead of building those 2 buildings, you want to build the Moonlit Altar and the Gathering. The standard melee company for the Council faction of Haroun is seldomly used. If anything is used as a front line, it usually tends to be at least a couple companies of Hillstriders. Hillstriders are very powerful units, and when not in battle, they heal themselves. In the case that they do die in a battle, it's probably a good idea to back them with Rainbringers. That way, once the Hillstrider dies, you can retreat and not lose the entire company. The standard ranged unit for Haroun, which is used very frequently, is either a short or long company of Rainbringers, supported by a Harvester and a Pathfinder. Now, a lot of people would assume that it's not a good idea to just build ranged units, but the Harvester um, has a very strong entangle spell, which will actually entangle assaulting units and allow the Rainbringers to fire off enough shots um, to damage the company to the point of retreat. The standard cavalry company for Haroun Council, if any, would be a Storm Dancer company backed by a flank of Mist Runners and a Harvester and Pathfinder. Um, the Haroun don't exactly have a heavy cavalry unit, but a company such as this would be an excellent company for flanking an oncoming attack or just uh, sending in and out of battle. The standard melee company for the Haroun Royalist faction is also not used very frequently. If anything, a company of Stonewalkers, perhaps backed by a Moonwatcher and a Paladin, would suffice. The standard ranged company for Haroun Royalist um, could either be the same company as Council uses, which would be a shorter long Rainbringer backed by a Harvester or a Pathfinder, but also um, multiple companies of short Rainbringers backed by two Paladins is a very strong unit, especially if you end up teching cavalry later on. Now, the standard cavalry company for Haroun Royalist, which is their main company, is usually a short Storm Dancer company with a flank of Mist Runners backed by a Moonwatcher and a Paladin. This unit is not too expensive, it doesn't use very many resources, and it is very strong. If you have at least 6 companies, you can really create a lot of damage. The Moonwatcher is a very good healing unit. It's probably one of the best healers in the entire game, and the Paladin is a very strong cavalry unit.